and you are absolutely listening to the George Espinlove Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm. Now, with no further ado, here comes Georgie!
Thank you. Thank you. Friday night at the Funny Farm. Thank you. We are always a little more loonier. Is that a word? Loonier on Friday nights, if that's possible, than other nights. You're listening to the George Espinlove Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. We want you to come in, sit down, kick your feet up, prop yourself back, sideways, wherever you want to do, and listen to what goes on tonight. We have a very interesting guest. But before we bring him on, I want to tell you this. Whether you're down the street, around the corner, across this nation, or around the world, we want you to become a full-fledged loon, just like the rest of us here on the Funny Farm. Here's all you have to do. Show up. That's pretty simple. That's easy. Here's what you don't have to do. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to sign anything. Just show up. That's all you have to do. Show up, and that qualifies you. That tells us that you want to become a full-fledged loon. Remember, many have come. Few have left. Charlie didn't make it back from Pennsylvania. Charlie nor Chloe. They got hung up somewhere between here and there. The last thing I heard was that Charlie was heading south toward Alabama. Don't ask me why. I have no clue, because it's Charlie. Charlie does whatever Charlie wants to do. So the last time I heard was that him and Chloe was heading toward Alabama. So if you're down that way and you see a wiener dog, two wiener dogs, Charlie will be the driver. Chloe is his girlfriend. If you see two wiener dogs in a really souped-up automobile, would you tell them that we want them to come back to the Funny Farm? Because we need them back on the program. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is a public, what do they say, a public service announcement. A public announcement that does service. Oh, I don't know. It really doesn't matter. But anyhow, hold on with me for 1 second. Let me get my doodads and what you call it, and put this over here and plop that down over there. We're going to have a good time tonight. We really are. With no further ado, as Charlie always says, when he's here, but he's not here with us tonight. But with no further ado, I want to introduce you to, let's see if I can remember. I'm having a senior moment. Colie Brice. Did I say it right?
You did. How you doing, George? Good evening.
I'm doing good. Well, it don't sound like I'm doing too good, but I had one of those senior moments. Things like that really mess me up. Like Colie. Ask my wife at 45 years. She'll tell you that I'm always messed up. It don't have to be anything certain. I'm just always messed up. But we sure are glad to have you on the show.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you having the time to talk to me.
And I'll tell you where I bumped into your music. I was cruising through cyberspace one day, and I ended up on a website, and to this day I couldn't tell you where it was. It's bookmarked somewhere, but I was cruising around, and I was listening to some music and checking things out, and lo and behold, your music popped up. And I thought, man, I like that. And so then I started trying to track you down with this way, that way, all those other ways. And lo and behold, we got hooked up, and here you are tonight. And I thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for looking for me and listening to the music. I'm very grateful when anybody listens. It's been playing music a long time, so it's always very gratifying to connect it with someone who likes it. You know, that's really what a musician wants to do. It's, you know, great joy in making music, but it's not complete until it gets into someone's ears, you know?
Yeah, that's got to give you a warm, fuzzy feeling inside.
Yeah, it is. It's a great feeling.
When did you start playing music? I mean, was you in a what's it called, a musically inclined family, or how'd all this happen?
Actually, my parents are not particularly inclined musically at all, so nor was there any particular evidence of any musical inclination in my family at all. So I don't know, but I've always been naturally inclined towards it, you know, even since I was a kid. I guess I started getting very devoted to playing guitar and piano and drums around 14 or so. So that was 30 years ago. And I never stopped. I've been a very active musician the past, for over a quarter of a century. Since I got out of high school, I started my first band, Gemini, with some good friends, Bobby Bogan and Eric Walls and Roger Ward, and then I joined a band that actually had at one point a couple of the guys from Bon Jovi had passed through the ranks, called Phantom's Opera, and did 3 albums with that band with a very gifted songwriter named Jack Young and a very famous guitarist named Michael Romeo, who's in a band called Symphony X now. And one of the guys from Gemini, Eric Walls, stayed in that project with me as well. And just been going from one thing to another. I've played with a lot of different artists over the years, and I guess I've put out, I think it's about 25 solo releases at this point. I've got like 300 tracks on iTunes, and
so you've been a busy man.
I've been a busy man, but I'm a working class musician. I have 2 kids, and I've been raising a family during all this time, and I've always been employed in the music business. So I've been fortunate. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. In some respects, working in the music industry can be one of the most toxic things in the world to the artistic side of things. But it did give me some insight and some pragmatism into how I could, you know, do something with my music and be able to, you know, have a bit of a career anyway.
So you got to see how, excuse me, you got to see the ins and outs of the business by working in.
That's as good as an education you could get. I was 20 years old when I started working at Polygram Records in their tape vault as, well, basically janitor, just sweeping up the vault and putting tapes away. And I worked my way into an audio engineering apprenticeship with some incredibly gifted audio engineers right around the early 90s when the CD market was exploding, and you know, people weren't listening to cassette and vinyl anymore, and there was a lot of catalog work being done. So that afforded me the chance to hear, you know, when you're 20 years old and you're listening to music, you tend to have very mainstream tastes that are kind of predicated by the choices of your peers, or, you know, what's popular in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And what was a real advantage to me, which at the time I didn't appreciate enough, but, you know, when I was working at Polygram, I was working with the master recordings of Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday and Stan Getz, and, you know, I got to hear Baby Love by the Supremes on the original mono master, and, you know, I just got to experience and hear master recordings while I was young and had really, I had really good ears, and to be able to absorb all that music at that age was a great blessing in my life.
When you heard heard all these varieties of different sounds, when you went home, did you get your guitar out and play?
Noodle along?
Yeah.
Oh, I did better than that, man. Remember one time I was home. I was at the studio by myself at night, and I threw up the 2-inch master to Kiss Alive 2, and I plugged my guitar into an empty channel, and I jammed along right off the master recording.
Oh man, that's neat.
Yeah, I got to do all kinds of cool stuff. Like, you could take a bass and drum beat from like James Brown and match it up to an Eric Clapton guitar solo, and now that's called a mashup. But back then, that was just craziness.
Man, you were.
It was an incredible opportunity to be at the right place at the right time and get like a real, like I said, really a world-class musical education.
Wow.
And audio engineering education as well.
Could you read music then?
To some degree, I am somewhat musically dyslexic because I'm a left-handed guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of have a different view of the frets than a right-handed player would. So I can read, but it takes me a little longer.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing is I started off on drums. And the drums doesn't, there's no pitch value unless, of course, it's like a mallet instrument or a timpani or something. But like a snare drum, for instance, on the sheet music, there's no pitch value. So I got very advanced in rhythmic notation. But then when I went to get more serious about the guitar and the piano, I had this disconnect because on the rhythmic aspect of the notation, I was somewhat advanced, but it was all baby steps going back to the note values. And then I found myself that my ear was going faster than my self-discipline, and I just had a lot more fun screwing around with it, to be honest with you, than getting real serious about it. Playing the guitar, I left home at 15, but I kind of endured a wide variety of living circumstances as a kid, and the one main thing for me was going to that guitar and just tugging on that G string and just, letting the pain out.
Mm-hmm.
And it became more of an empathy type of thing for me rather than an intellectual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that, and I have all the respect in the world for musicians who can do that, but I think sometimes you can be a great musician but not necessarily a great artist, and sometimes a great artist can be a mediocre musician. They're kind of two different things, and some people have both, and some people have them in different ratios.
When people make records or recordings, for the most part, or you, for instance, do you read sheet metal or sheet metal? Do you read sheet music or do you just play everything by ear?
When I'm composing or when I'm...
When you're actually recording something.
Oh. Well, there's different ways. It depends whether you're recording with a group or whether you're just kind of recording yourself off a click track.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, first of all, I apply what I call a creative principle called Lunamuse, Lunamuse, and to me that simply means creative inspiration. And what that means to me is I try to be in a natural presence of any given moment artistically. So I don't really have a hard and fast rule about my methodology. There's been times where I've gone into a studio and I've brought lead sheets with, counting out the measures and the chord changes and maybe some particular notes of some particular riffs or something I want.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, like with my most recent band, the New Age Blues Experience, we played together for like 5 years, and I would just record a demo of a song and play all the instruments myself within the limitations of my abilities, but basically get the heart and soul of it, the guts of it for them, the words, the melody, the harmonic structure. And then I would just send them an MP3, and then we'd get together at the next rehearsal or whatever, and we would just hash through it, and everyone would kind of, we'd just kind of brutalize it a little bit, and it would kind of, everyone's own musical personalities would get thrown into the blender, and it would kind of sculpt itself in an organic kind of fashion over time. Other times we just are in the moment, and I just was close enough to the tape machine to hit play and record, and that was what it was in that moment. But generally, when I record myself, I'll start with either a drum beat or a piano riff or an acoustic guitar thing, and I'll just set up a click track, and I'll just go through it, and then I'll just add one instrument, and then another instrument, and then another instrument, and I'll drive my wife and son nuts because I'll be tweaking with the sounds for hours, and I would have promised them a hike like earlier in the day, and I get out around sunset, and they're kind of irritated with me. But there's no set process for me. There seems to be 3 or 4 different ways that I continue to go back to, but there's no rule for me in how I would do it. And,
I guess that's where that inspiration comes in at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should play this song right here.
What are we playing?
El Toro Loco?
Oh.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Let's do.
Yeah, there's a lot of versions of it. I'm curious to hear which one you play.
All right, here we go. That was so neat.
You're pretty quick, man. I just recorded that version like 2 days ago.
Really? I was over on your on your Facebook thingy and it had the little thingy there that said play, and and it popped open, and there it was. And
Cool.
I hit that thing, and as soon as I heard it, I fell in love with that. I love it.
Thanks, man.
When
Well, that's an example of what I was just talking about. That is I recorded that just a couple days ago. I might be going back to New Jersey in a couple weeks, and I'm trying. If I do, I'll try to play with the band. But that song is usually a very ferocious surf rock instrumental, and I thought it would lend itself to an acoustic treatment with a bit of a flamenco-ish kind of air about it. So that would be an example of where I demo it out to the guys the way I want to communicate it, and then I would send it to them. Actually, you probably heard it before they did because they're too lazy to check their email. But that would be an example where I would demo something out, and then they would, the bass player, Jay Walker, is such a gifted, they're all gifted musicians, and they play well beyond my abilities on their instruments. But it's good when they kind of like take the parts that are signature and the ones they resonate with, and then they kind of build off that.
I find I have trouble playing the radio, but I have always loved music, and I've always been fascinated by the way that musicians play their instruments. I'm 64 years old, but when I watch someone play a guitar or a piano or a harmonica, whatever it is, I just sit there like a little kid. My jaw hits the deck, my eyes get real big, and I'm like awe-stricken because I find it fascinating. People moving their fingers and making all these beautiful sounds. That's why I'm on the Funny Farm. But it's amazing. I just love it.
Well, it's one of the closest things we have to magic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the notes and the dexterity and the speed and all that stuff, there's a mechanical and an athletic and an intellectual dimension to all that. Where it gets really fun is where you get to the point where you can feel it as it's just kind of happening and just be in the natural presence of the moment and just kind of go along for the ride and just let it come through you. It's easier said than done because a lot of times in an improvisational setting, your own vanity or your ego, your insecurities, your self-consciousness can get in the way. But once in a while, when the stars are aligned and you can just get into a zone where you're just kind of, it's like surfing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like surfing the cosmos on sound.
That's got to be a tremendous feeling when that happens.
Oh, it's the most well.
It's hard to
Yeah.
put words to it, huh? It's
beyond the description of words that limit being. It just is.
I often think, what would this world be if all of a sudden we had no music? I mean, I couldn't even imagine. But I guess from the beginning of time, there's always been some kind of music, don't you think?
Well, yeah, the Big Bang itself.
Mm-hmm.
And one man's trash is another man's treasure. The music, if it's an organized group of sounds, organized by whose perception. There's things that may sound dissonant and chaotic to most people, but it might be quite soothing to another organism.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to really kind of open your perception to a wider variety of understandings of what could constitute music. That's what a lot of the great jazz improvised guys did. And some of the, like Schoenberg and Webern and Berg and these atonal classical composers, these people are well out of my range of comprehension, but I admire the pursuit.
If and before we go any further, if people want to get your music, where do they go get it?
Well, I've got a half-ass website, coliebrice.com, and there's links there to my Reverb Nation page where I have a lot of free MP3s, and my Facebook page, and but I mean, I have music everywhere. If you look me up in iTunes, I've got over 300 tracks there. I've got several hundred tracks on Amazon.com. I've got tracks on Bandcamp. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Mog. I mean, it's pretty easy. Google Play has a lot of my albums. One of the things that actually is probably a detriment to me is that I have released so much music that people don't even really know where to start, because it tends to be kind of experimental and eclectic, and you know, not everyone has as wide a taste as I like to play in. So for instance, I've had people that are very strong fans of my work with Phantom Opera, but hate my experimental new agey stuff. I have people that like my blues playing that, you know, don't like my singer-songwriter stuff. So it's definitely a challenge, and as I'm getting older and I'm kind of like gestating over life a little bit more and getting to more of a contemplative stage, I'm trying to do a better job of curating all these recordings and kind of, you know, making them more accessible to people who have like defined tastes, you know.
How about the Asbury Alley Cat? Is there a story behind that?
Asbury Alley Cat?
Yeah.
Well, that's like a term. Asbury Park, New Jersey, is a spiritual musical home base for me. You know, I'm a born and raised Jersey Shore musician, and Asbury Park is the epicenter of all that. There's definitely a vortex of creativity. There's a reason why Springsteen came from there, and there's a reason why there's always been great original musicians in and around that place, no matter what has been going on. It's just like I don't know. It's an enchanted place. It just has consistently always attracted great musicians, and I call Asbury Alley Cats like the guys like me that are a little long in the tooth and been at it for a long time, and just kind of like well, they come and go. There's different generations of musicians, and you know, you see you know, it's kind of like old-fashioned 50s turf battles. You know, you see a band get to the point where they're headlining the Stone Pony and they're the talk of the town, and then you know, 5 or 6 years later, the same guys singing at an open mic night. There's constantly a reshuffling of the decks. There's a lot of constant evolving mythology on the streets of Asbury Park, and I just kind of affectionately refer to my fellow lifers. When I say lifer, I mean just guys that are going to play music no matter what till the day they die. I call us the Asbury Alley Cats.
Let's do that one.
All right.
I'm going to bring this down because it gets a little lengthy there. But
oh yeah,
but
yeah, that sounds like a Raspberry Alley Cat jam in G minor. That's what I was talking about. Like the problem with my catalog is I've got things that are just kind of like, I would call that like a head jam, like which is very valid. Like that was like a spontaneous improvisation in G minor one night, and what I like about that is that it kind of just shows the vibe of the band a little bit. Sometimes we can get into a bit of a Grateful Dead-ish kind of vibe, but with kind of a slinky groove.
Now,
So
let me tell you what a dingbat like me would do when I hear that. My ideal setting would be, you got to remember, I'm 64 years old, so I'm from the old school. I'm from way back there, and I've come up through the whatever they were, good times, bad times, all the times. So here's my setting, a dingbat like me. Turn that on, put the headphones on, turn it up. That's why I can't hear. Turn it up, turn the lights out, prop my feet up, kick back, and just listen to it. That's what I like about that. Now, I don't know if people still do that stuff, but back in the day, we used to do that stuff. And when I hear something like that, it just it gets inside of me. I like your music. When I first heard your music, and this is not flattery by no means, when I first heard your music and the variety of music that you played, it gets inside of you, and that's what I like. I just don't like a tune or a noise. I like something that you can feel, and it gets down inside of you, and it just kind of like energizes you. Am I making sense?
thanks, man, and it's very gratifying to hear you say that it hits you that way, because that's really what I'm going for. I'm trying to. I'm not trying to make Wonder Bread that sells 1 million loaves a day. I'm make little loaves of my own little organic music bread, and I don't care if there's ever 1 million people that listen. I want people that can enjoy the depth and fullness of the experience to enjoy it, no matter whether it's one person or 1 million people. I want to do something that resonates with a more organic, holistic kind of thing, because so much of mainstream and present-day culture is just so synthetic and plastic and superficial, and I want my music to have its warts. In fact, part of the reason why I record in such a hasty fashion and keep my mistakes in is because I just think it's more honest. I just think it's coming closer to the source, I think, when you just try and just let it out and get it out quick,
Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely, I was born in 1968. I can remember being a kid in the mid-'70s, and I remember album rock, and I remember people listening, I can remember growing up on vinyl, and like you sat down, and it was a transformative experience. You sat down and you listened to the whole thing, and that's what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like in earbuds while you went for a jog. It wasn't background while you're having dinner. It was what you were engaged in thoroughly. And that's definitely, I'm very grateful to hear that you had that experience with it, because that's definitely what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I ever since I found your music, I've been playing it every day when I'm sitting down doing research or whatever. But I've always got something on. I ran into a fella. Oh, it's been several months. I guess back in September, by the name of Rick Fowler, who has the Rick Fowler Band out of Athens, Georgia, and he's an old guy, but he's got his band, the Rick Fowler Band, and he plays blues rock. And the same with his music. When I heard his music, it just it reminded me a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan, But when I heard his music, it had the same effect on me. So, I'll play every day. I'll play some of your music, some of Rick's music, some other people's music, but it's the music that gets down deep inside the soul. That's where I like it to go, and I like it to take me somewhere. Now, I don't know where that somewhere is, but it takes me wherever it is, and I just enjoy that stuff so much. And I know that when people listen to this, uh, it'll get them, for lack of a better term. And I just appreciate it
And
so much.
I've been pretty lucky with the podcasting community, and I love the podcasting community. I podcast sometimes myself, and I like the individual empowerment of it. I like that. It reminds me a lot of like freeform FM radio I used to hear in the back of the car on the ride home when I was a kid. You know,
Yep.
radio used to be a great thing in this country. You used to like hear, let's face it, you hear some stoned out dude kicking back with some speakers, having a grand old time, and just really sharing his enthusiasm for, or her enthusiasm for, the experience that they're having. And now with Clear Channel and a handful of corporations owning 90% of the airwaves, people like yourself and independent podcasters who are just doing it from their heart and just playing things that just genuinely affect them serve such a great purpose now, because it facilitates an opportunity for people to network and really exchange things that you're not going to hear through contemporary mainstream media. It allows... See, the greatest sorrow for me as a musician is not having wider fame or fortune. The sadness is when you've recorded something and there's someone out there that would really enjoy it, and you just don't know how to make that connection. You don't know how to get it to them. And so I'm very grateful to the podcasting community, because they bring it to 30 people at a time, or 100 people at a time, or one person at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds up.
Yeah, in the last, I think we figured out some numbers this afternoon. In the last 90 days, excuse me, our audience has literally exploded. It's up somewhere around almost 6,000 listens now.
Wow.
And the biggest part of that came within the last 90 days, 110 days, somewhere around there. And people are just eating it up. What about your band? Don't you have a band?
I do. I have a band which I very regretfully left back in New Jersey, and it's one of the more heartbreaking aspects of moving up here to Eastport, Maine, is that I don't get to play with them as much as I used to. But in a way, it's good too, because those times that we will play will be more meaningful for everyone involved, including the audience. Because we played... The thing about Asbury Park, it's wonderful in so many ways, but it's also a very difficult music market, because you have such an abundance of talent, and there's at least 6 different original things going on every night.
Uh-huh.
It's very difficult to maintain an audience if you're playing all the time, because there's always something else to see, and there's always competition, and it's unfortunate in some respects, because sometimes there's a lot of infighting, and the musicians can get jealous of each other if you score some gig that somebody else wanted or whatever, and it's sometimes the community aspect of it suffers for the competitiveness that is kind of, because the club owners, they love music, but they also need to sell beer. Jersey's a very expensive place to have a business.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing somewhere, you got to bring in enough people to make it worth being open. It's tough, but I also think it really makes you a pretty mean together musician. I mean, some really pretty happening cats hanging out in that scene that are really world class, and I think there's something about it. It's almost like a little mini Austin in a way. But yeah, the band, I do miss the band, and as much as I love producing solo music, and I have a really cool home studio, and I've got a really cool space for my gear, and I've got a beautiful home up here in Maine, and it's very inspiring. And I love the freedom of. I have a program called Apple Pro Logic, and basically I have like any instrument at my command. I can realize any type of idea very quickly musically, and it's extremely empowering, and it's great. But it's really not the same as having living, breathing people that you are friends with. You know what? When you got your blood brothers playing music with you, and they know how you play, and you know they want to contribute the best thing they can to that moment. We haven't developed any software programs yet that can replicate that kind of brotherhood that only happens from guys that play together for years and really develop a chemistry.
Yeah, there's no software that can bring about that heartbeat, is there?
No, I mean, and if anyone ever, like, if you go through my catalog, you'll see things where I've recorded versions of songs when I wrote them 10 years ago, and I put it out, and they're good, you know, they are what they are, and they're pretty good songs. And then you'll hear a live version of it with my band, and you'll be like, holy shit, what a difference. Like, those guys just do something. And they do. Past 5 years, I was in a band called the New Age Blues Experience with Jay Walker on bass, Joe Savio on drums, Alan Galla on guitar and synthesizer. This kid Matt Lott played sax off and on, kind of unbelievable sax player, like kids like Coltrane or something. A little crazy, would go in and out of the band.
Yeah.
Jay's dad used to play with us on occasion, who's a tremendous keyboard player who was actually a contemporary of Springsteen and all the original Asbury guys. He's on a plaque outside on the boardwalk called the Sounds of Asbury Park, and he's considered one of the founding members of the Jersey Shore Sound. So it's always an honor when you have a guy like that playing in your band. But this jazz cat named Kurt Thumb who would come play with us once in a while, or just phenomenal. So we had kind of guys coming in and out of the band, and tons of local musicians would fit in and stuff, but the core was me, Jay, Joe, and Alan, and we probably did close to 200 shows together in the past 500 years.
Wow.
500, in the past 5 years. Wow. I'm not that old.
Are you doing gigs by yourself up there in Maine?
Yeah, we spend a little too much time alone. Counting the snowflakes. But you know, when you take a group of guys and you play a couple hundred shows together, the music's going to go through a process, and you know there's going to be evolution and molting, and you just can't recreate that with technology. It's just something that comes from human alchemy.
That's one of those. You got to be there. That's the only way that happens. Is you just got to be there, right?
Yeah. Well, we got the next best thing to be in there. Last June we played a show before I left, June 14th at the Saint, and the recording came out really well. And we released a live album called Exile on Main Street, and that features all the guys that I talked about. Wow. And there was another album we did a couple years before that was recorded live at a club called, it's a club that's had many names, but it was originally the Student Prince, which was that the place where the Springsteen band got together with Clarence. There's the line in the song where the big man came through the door. Well, that's where it happened.
Huh.
It was a building at 911 Kingsley that had it was a go-go joint at one point. It was when the Stone Pony closed, it was the Rock Horse. But it's this place that had a long history at the Jersey Shore, and we got to record there one night, and that came out pretty good too. That was called Another Night in Paradise. There's 2 really solid live albums that the band did, which I'm really proud of. And that's a good starting point for anybody who wants to hear the band.
Wow. Tell us again where we can get your music.
Amazon.com, iTunes, I'm on Spotify, Mogs, Last.fm, really everywhere. Google Play. If you have an Android, I've got those albums are available on any Android device, on an iPhone, and available on iTunes.
Now, am I saying this right? Is it Colie?
Colie, yeah.
Colie. Oh,
yep.
I'm telling you, sometimes Espinlab just doesn't get it. You know what I mean? But yet, the good thing about it is that I know that I don't get it. So, I can laugh at myself. I've been laughing at myself all my life. Sometimes I'm the only entertainment that I have. But, yeah. Colie Brice.
I only laugh at myself when I pass a mirror.
Yeah. I try not to look into them no more because that hurts.
Better than crying.
Yeah, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Colie Brice, my goodness gracious, singer, songwriter, musician, musical historian. I think if you want to know something, just ask him. He'll tell you. But wow, music is you, and you are music. Let's do this. What is it? Fear 2012.
Yeah.
Let's do that one.
Soft reflections of yesterday, searching for the answers, seems there's none to find. Can't explain why I think or feel day after day on the jury wheel. Inside me is growing strong. No more anger, no more rage. Beware of the lion when he's uncaged. Fear! I feel the fear. Everlasting fear, if you wanna get me
Colie Brice, Fear 2012. Man, that's so neat. Uh, Man, I was going to ask you something, then I had a. I only have one half brain cell left, Coley. So, uh, when that half brain cell fires, it fires good. But when it goes dull, I mean, it just goes just as dull as it was when it was good. But that's all I have left. So, anyhow, did you put music on musicalley.com? Can you remember? Did we lose him? Are you there?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Okay. Did you put some of your music on a site called musicalley.com?
Yeah, it's called the PodSafe Music Network.
Yeah, yeah.
It was basically a place where, if you're a musician, you wanted to let podcasters play your stuff, and they knew it was safe to play it, you could upload it. So I used to upload stuff there all the time. I haven't been as diligent about it, but yeah, it's a great site. I mean, there's all kinds of great music there, and
yeah, I play. In fact, the biggest part of the music that we play here comes from Music Alley.
I don't know why more musicians don't use it. I mean, there's at least 200 bands in Asbury Park, and I only know like 2 or 3 that even use that service. And it's like, all you got to do is upload the MP3, and you got like people like yourself. If they like it, they're going to play it.
Yeah,
not.
And I've gotten I don't know how many responses from people that I've played their music that's following us now, and so. It's a great way for the producers to meet the artists and the artists to meet the producers, and it's pod safe. That's what I like about it too.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about all this other stuff. But everybody's playing on the same page. It's so
tough for aspiring artists now, though, because there are so many websites to upload your stuff to, in the hopes of, and they go in and out of style, and I think people just get disoriented after a while. Like, I don't even know where to just.
Yeah, you end up like you're lost. Excuse me, like you're lost wandering around in the woods.
Yeah, it is tough, but it's the persistent effort does pay off. It's staying in the game and following up with people, and it's really worth it. A lot of younger musicians overlook that, and they don't follow up, or they scoff at something that seems like too modest of a thing. It just, you never know when you're planting a seed somewhere where there's going to be a great oak,
You're right.
So you treat everybody the same, and then, sometimes you catch a rising tide,
That's right. That's exactly right. And like you said, with this whole modern day technology, a computer, a microphone, and you're on your way. It's not like the terrestrial stations. Of course, we've got several of them around here, and you go by them, and they're just they're locked up. Now they're broadcasting because the big dude owns them, and it's all, I guess, computerized and everything. But there's no human being in there no more.
Yeah.
So nowadays, I agree with you. I think this is just, to me, it's the most amazing thing that I've ever seen, where people can broadcast to the world. We have listeners in the UK, the Philippines, and we know they're listeners because we communicate with them all the time. In the Philippines, down under, the UK, Italy, across the nation, and I always tell people there's people listening to us down the street, around the corner, across the nation, and around the world. And I think that's pretty cool. So you're right. Nobody knows who might be listening to whomever, and that's all it takes. Off you go.
Yeah, it's anybody's game nowadays. It's such a fragmented media market. When I was a kid starting out, the record business was a very difficult but a simple game.
Mm-hmm.
You needed physical distribution. You needed trucks that could get your records to warehouses, that could get your stuff to stores at the mall. You needed someone that could finance making a recording, and you needed a publicist that had connections at all the magazines and prominent newspapers. Very hard things to obtain, but there was a playbook, and if you could get into the game, you could play the game and you could win.
Mm-hmm.
The emergence of digital technology, all three of those factors were just, didn't make a difference anymore.
Right.
Physical distribution of doesn't mean, no one buys CDs in stores anymore. It's all digital distribution, so that's no longer a factor.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend a couple grand on a microphone, a laptop, and a guitar, and you can make a record. You might not know how to make a good record yet, but as far as a technological capability, you are fully empowered.
Okay.
So that's another thing that is not a concern anymore. The final thing, and the one thing that still matters, is the promotion. The complication is nowadays is that where you could take out a full-page ad in Rolling Stone magazine and get a review and a million people would read it, well, no, a million people don't read that magazine anymore. There's the same amount of people, but there's 200,000 of them reading that magazine. There's 1,000 of them reading, Cousin Becky's blog. There's 50 of them listening to your podcast.
Uh-huh.
There's 200 of them arguing in a Facebook thread. It's the media market has become so fragmented that you have to just be nonstop about reaching out to people, because there is no centralized thing that's going to, there was a girl from Asbury Park who was out on Columbia Records a few years ago named Nicole Atkins. Great singer, beautiful girl, beautiful woman, really good songs. And in another time and place, she probably would have been a huge star. I mean, she was in all the magazines. She was on David Letterman. David Letterman asked her if she wanted to go out for a steak dinner. There was a time where television was so powerful that simple act of him being affected by her performance would have been enough to put her at a certain level. But nowadays, with the fragmentation and everyone having their own media voice, it's just harder and harder for people to come out of the herd and be heard.
Yeah, when Rick Fowler was on with me, he said it something like this. And he was talking along the same lines.
I remember Rick Fowler. I heard me and him had a chat on. Sorry, we talked on Reverb Nation one time. I know who you're talking about now. Anyway,
he's a great guy. And,
yeah.
And he said it something like this. He said, he was talking about how it used to be, like you were saying. He said, but now it's like you got all these people, this huge mob, and everybody's holding the sign up, and the sign says the same thing for everybody. Pick me, pick me, pick me. And he said, there you stand amongst the millions, and they all say that the sign says the same thing. Pick me, pick me. And he said, now you're just like one big blur rather than someone standing out. You're kind of wrapped up into one big pick me, like one sign, but there's many. And
but I think what the solution is.
What is it?
You don't try to be all things to all people anymore. You just try to be yourself and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I like that. I like that philosophy.
Because previously aspiring rock stars or whatever, you had the publicist and the hairstylist and the guy telling you how to move and the guy telling you how to look and telling you got to get your teeth fixed or you got to have your hair a certain way or you got to do more cardio or blah, 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 blah. Well, now we live in an era where, you know what? Fuck you.
That's right. Yeah, just be yourself. Just be
I am
yourself.
who I am.
Yeah.
Love it or shove it. And, no, you're not going to be the next Michael Jackson. So what?
Uh-huh.
Be the first you. Be the first you.
I
And
like
just
that.
concentrate on what you do and the way you do it. And I think what will emerge is maybe not so much a world where we have Elvis Presley's and the Beatles, but we'll have a lot of what I would love to see from all this, that digital technology and distribution, is the emergence of a valid working class artist citizenry.
Uh-huh.
Artists who make 40, 50 grand a year doing original music and having a lot more people making a working class livelihood out of what they love. I'd rather see 100,000 artists make $100,000 a year than see 10 artists make $100 million a year.
Yeah. I agree with that. That makes...
And I think the problem most people are having is they still have that big dream, and they still want the stadium tour, and they still want this, and they still want that. And I think the smarter ones are thinking smaller. I think, instead of trying to hit a home run, steal a base.
Right.
Make a bunt. Have a bunt. Get walked. It's no time to be arrogant. It's a time to be humble. Just stay in the game.
Yeah.
The game's going to change, and if you learn how to play it, you might end up all right.
You're not only a great musician, a great songwriter, a great singer, but you're a good philosopher too. I like that. I like that. Colie, listen, I've kept you for 64 minutes, 65 minutes now, and
Listen, thank you so much, and I got to run. I'm playing tonight. I'm playing at a place called the Shipwreck
All right.
in Eastport, Maine tonight.
All right. Listen.
And I'm very grateful for your time as well, and this has been a wonderful conversation. I hope we do it again sometime, man.
We will, and I'll just, for the rest of the show, I'll be playing your music and telling people where to get your music and so.
Tell me where to send that Christmas present, man.
All right. All right, Colie. God bless you, man.
Thank you so much. God bless.
See ya. That was exciting. A real down-to-earth guy, you know what I'm saying? But yet you can tell that music is his passion. Here's another song, Colie Brice.
Gotta let somebody know. Oh, when you're down and feeling blue, and the only thing you wanna do. Lay down low, let it go when you're down. When hope's not found, and blue skies are gray, when the sun don't shine.
Colie Brice. I want to thank Colie one more time. Oh, I'll thank him again before we're all done, but I want to thank him. Yeah, I want to thank him for taking the time out of a very busy schedule, a very talented man, and being on the show with us tonight. Look, I just went to iTunes, and I put in Colie Brice, Colie Brice. Now look, albums, blues, New Age blues, Chameleon, Haunted, which is a single for 99 cents, Live in Asbury Park, Autumn Chronicle, Volume 1. Then there's songs. Acoustic Slide Blues in G, Broken String Blues in E minor, Batman Blues in G minor, Sea of Blues, Lost Highway, Surf's Up. I like that, Lost Highway. We played that on one of the shows here this week or last week, whatever it was. But there they are. 99 cents. The albums are like $9.99. Let me see where it says "See Y'all," and there's even more. My goodness, if you want, here it is: Rock and Roll Tiger, Gemini Suite Volume 2, Blues version 2.0, Late Bloomer, live at the Saint. He was talking about that. New Age Blues. I'm telling you what. If you want some good music, and I'm talking about all around music, just not one kind of thing, but if you want to listen to it, go get it. Go get it. iTunes, Colie Brice, Colie Brice. I'll get it right. I hate when that happens. Hey, this is Colie Brice night here on the George Espinlab Show. Colie just left us. He had a gig he had to go to, but he spent about 65 minutes with me, and every minute was very, very interesting. We talk a little while, play a song, talk a little while, play a song. What a talented singer, songwriter, musician. You can tell that he is music and music is him. You can tell that it's all intertwined. It comes from way down deep inside. I would encourage you one more time, go to iTunes. I did, with the old nifty iPad over here. I went to iTunes, just put in up there Colie Brice, ColieBrice, and the albums will come up and the songs will come up, and you can get his music right there. It's just a wonderful musician, wonderful singer. So tonight is Colie Brice night here on the George Espinlab Show. Now, we want you to become... Yep. There they are. Uh-huh. Oh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Say it again. Yeah, I got you. Oh, it's music to my ears. It's the loons. We want you to become a full-fledged loon. All you have to do is show up. That's all. Just come to the show. And many come. Few leave. We don't hold no one hostage. It's just that when they come into our world, from out of your world, the real world, and they come into our world, they just find, tranquility, peace, stability. Stability. You don't believe that for a second, do you? Okay, I won't go no further. So we'll play some more Colie Brice. Ow. Okay, I got it. Hey, you're listening to the George Espinlab Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. I want you to email me. Here's my email address. George C. E. georgece@comcast.net. georgece@comcast.net. Email me. And we get emails. We just want more. We want more. We want to know where you're listening to us from, what you think. Be nice. If you don't like us, just be nice. I mean, you can not like us, but be nice not liking us. One of those things. But yeah, send us your emails and ask us questions. We'll answer you. I promise you. GeorgeCE@Comcast.net. That's GeorgeCE@Comcast.net. I want to give a big shout out to my friend Lillian Caldwell. Lillian's got one of the biggest internet radio networks that there is. It is huge. There are many, I'll put many thousands of people that listen the world over to the PWRtalkradio.com network. Lillian Caldwell, she has built the network herself. She is the CEO. She does a marvelous job. She does other things, ebooks and so on and so forth. But I want to give her a great big shout out tonight out there in Michigan. I talked with her probably for a half hour, 45 minutes this afternoon. It's always a delight. It's always a privilege to be able to talk to Lillian. If you have any questions or anything you want to know, I'm telling you, she's always answered my questions. She's always taken the time to help me. So, Lillian, you are a real treat. So, ladies and gentlemen, go to pwrtalkradio.com, pwrtalkradio.com, and check it out. I think you'll really like it. So, Lillian, God bless you, and I hope you and yours have a very, very good night tonight. Wow. Where was we? I want to thank our guest, Colie Brice, from way up there in the state of Maine, who is from the state of New Jersey. I want to thank him for being with us tonight. He spent some time with us. He talked with us. He shared with us. We've played his music. We're going to keep playing his music for a little bit longer like this one. Get Gnarly by Colie Brice. Man, we've had a good time tonight. Friday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have had a terrific week. I mean that. If no one else, no one else did, I sure did. No, seriously, we did. And I want to thank every one of you that has tuned in this week. I mean, our listeners are just coming. And please, continue to come. Keep up the good work. We want to make our show better all the time. And we have guests that come from all walks of life every single night. Let's see who we got Monday. My goodness. Here we are. Next week is Thanksgiving. Can you believe that? Already. Next week is Thanksgiving. Oh, all right. Let's see who we got. Let me get this thing straightened out here. Oh, and while I'm doing this, here's what I want you to. Here's what I want you to do. For you that have requested for me, how's it go? In that Facebook thingy, you request to put my birthday on your calendar or whatever. I'm still working on that because I can breeze through Facebook and do this and that and all these other things that's going on, but that birthday thing, man, that throws me for a loop. And speaking of birthdays, I want to say happy birthday to Mr. Bill Miracle, who wrote the book. Yeah, man, you talk about brain damage here. Mr. Bill, happy birthday. I'd sing to you, but we'd lose whatever people we have listening to us, so I won't do that. But Monday, we have with us a young lady by the name of Benita Taylor. Addicted to Dysfunction, released to Live Out Loud. That ought to be interesting, huh? That is going to be good. All right, that's Monday night. Tuesday night, we have Karna Bodman. Now listen to me. She is the former director of the National Security Council for President Reagan. That's right. She was in the White House for 5 or 6 years working under President Reagan. And her last assignment there was she was the director of the National Security Council. So she'll be with us on Tuesday night. And I think that you'll want to tune in and listen to what this lady has to say. On Wednesday night, we're going to have Leroy Hypnobro. I think that's his stage name. Hypnobro. Leroy Hypno. Hypnobro. Anyhow, he's going to be with us. He's a stand-up comedian, and I'm sure he's going to crack us up. I think we'll have a very, very good time. Then Thursday night, that's Thanksgiving night. We might have a Thanksgiving special show that night. I'm not sure. We're not gonna have a guest per se. We'll have something going on, but we're probably going to do a Thanksgiving night. And listen, we do have a lot to be thankful for. So don't forget, Thanksgiving is more than a day off. Thanksgiving is more than just a holiday. Give thanks. Not only Thanksgiving Day, but every day. We are a blessed people. And then next Friday night, we'll see who we're going to have because we don't have a tentative date, or we have a tentative date, but we don't have anything definite. The week after that, we're booked. The week after that, we're booked. The week after that, we're booked. And week goes on. Because, so we're booked. Tremendous. People are writing to us, wanting to come on the show. We appreciate it. We want them to come. We don't turn anyone away. Now, it might take us a while to get back to some because we're looking for some slots here. We're way up into 2013 going already, and so it might take us a little while to get to you. Hang in there. We'll contact you one way or another and get you on the show, because we found out that everyone has a story. Everyone is interested in something, and everyone has a history. So we'll get to you. People from all walks of life. We're going to get out of here, and there's no other better way to get out of here than playing some more of Colie Brice's music. So we'll do that, and we'll get ourselves out of the way. We'll get out of here. But I sure do thank you for tuning in. I just trust and pray that you have a good, safe weekend. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything stupid that'll get you out there in trouble. Behave yourself. Be careful. And all those things. Have fun, but please be careful. And we will see you again. Like one man said, if the Lord willing and the creeks don't rise. We'll be back Monday night. Same time, same station, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here live from the Funny Farm in a place called our world. Yeah, they like it here at the Funny Farm Radio Studio. When I walk out of this sound booth, the party continues here. It's Friday night at the Funny Farm. And they'll just, who we got? Oh, all right. If he wants to, sure. Travis is going to come in, and they won't be on the air, but Travis will be in. He'll have the mic, so the people outside and inside the studio can hear what he's saying. Yeah. All right. And Wilbur's going to work the board for him. Yeah. Marcia Groom, one of our chief cooks, one of our head cooks, has said that there's plenty of food over there in the cafeteria. So, yeah, you know, all that dancing and carrying on that you folks do makes you hungry. So take her up on that. Ladies and gentlemen, we love music here at the Funny Farm. 24/7, somewhere, there's music being played, whether it's out on the grounds or in the cafeteria, wherever. Even down at the old horse barn, down the cow barn, the horse barn, the sheep barn, you know, where all them critters stay. Down there's music playing all the time. So there's always music playing, and there's always people up. People like us, we don't sleep, you know. We take quick cat naps, and then we're back at it again. So the cafeteria is always open. Somebody's always in there feeding their face, listening to music, dancing, so on and so forth. But Travis is going to come in, take the mic. I'm going to be with my mom. He's going to take the mic. Wilbur is going to work the board for him, and they're going to keep the party going on. And yeah, I'll get out of the way, Travis. I will. We're going to close it out. Yeah. Right? Okay, I'll hurry up. Okay. One more time. Very serious. I want to say thank you to Colie Brice for being with us tonight. We played his music. Go to iTunes. Just type up there Colie, C-O-L-I-E, Brice, B-R-I-C-E. Type it up there, and his albums and his singles and all that good stuff will pop up, and get his music. I'm telling you. You'll be glad that you did. Thank you so much, Colie, for being with us tonight. I hope that you can come back and be with us again. And we wish you and your family the best of luck. All right, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're at, whatever you're going through, just remember there's a whole lot of love coming to you from the Funny Farm. We mean that. We care about people. Email me, georgece@comcast.net, georgece@comcast.net. So, if it's nighttime where you're at, have a good night. if it's already tomorrow, have a good day. But regardless, till Monday night, same time, same station, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here. Come back and be with us. This is George Espinlove saying good night and God bless you.